This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
Well, that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello and massive welcome to the Bar Steward's Enquiry Weekend Podcast. What an action-packed show we've got for you today. We've got the Dewhurst, the Cesarewitch. There's jumps action at Chepstow that hasn't made the TV. Sacrilege, some will say at this time of year. The old Timeform meeting used to be on the telly box of the BBC. Sadly, it's not here with us this weekend, but on terrestrial television. Anyway, with me tonight to discuss tonight's fair, I've got John Lake of John Joe's Blogspot. Good evening, John.
Good evening, mate.
And also joining me tonight to give his best bets and best takes. He's fresh from doing 6 laps of London today, getting on in the shops from Bermondsey to Stratford. He's been walking all over East Ham, everywhere to get to get his 2,000 to 160 on his best bet. Dick Davis, good evening.
Good evening, Lee. How are you?
Good evening. Very well. Now, gentlemen, you saw today's action. Anything take your eye or any points of view on today's fair?
I think the biggest thing was Newmarket being so ridiculously late off. We had Amy Starkey on the telly last week bragging about the fact that they've taken this, that and the other measure to stop all the scrapping. Whether that's a success or not remains to be seen. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, their biggest achievement is getting the band to carry on playing while the horses were running at Kempton.
There was a meeting the other day that was, I think there was a bagpipe playing. Do you remember that one the other day? The bagpipes were just played all the time. I don't know what that was.
Honest to God, I mean, nothing's... This sport is just a shambles from top to very near top because it's the top that's knackering it. They're all very good at sucking each other's dicks and congratulating themselves on it. Job well done. And anybody that takes the sport remotely seriously can say that the job's anything but well done.
I think the ramifications I take from today would be that the far rail at Newmarket, could there be scrambles, especially in the Ces, and packed up fields because of it? Because everyone seemed to wanted to get the far rail, and it wasn't that massive fields today. So it'd be interesting tomorrow. Yeah,
I mean, the impressive thing for me, because I think if anyone would watch the Phillies Mile today, I think if I'd have taken the odds, on the favourite, I would have been rather worried with those two just down the centre. Cashew leading Frankie, and then the way that Frankie quickened on that filly was very impressive. But as you've seen though so far today, it's certainly been, I wouldn't say it's like a massive advantage, but it's definitely an advantage to be over there. It looks that way. Do you agree, Nick?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got my Ces reckoning would be against the favourite because coming from behind on a pack rail isn't in a 34 runner race might be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, interesting thoughts. Again, jockeys are like trainers, sometimes can be creatures of habit, and if they've got it in the heads, that's where you've got to be. Then Nick's sort of foreseeing that it could be a bit of a bad scramble and some hard luck stories we could see possibly in the Ces. Now, just the thing making the headlines today was Oisin Murphy with his statement regards to a failed breath test. I mean, I can add a little bit to this without going too much into it because obviously I don't want to get myself in trouble. But apparently Oisin was out, doing his Rocky impressions last night, with a possible bloodstock agent. Again, mentioning no names, but there seems to be a problem. I mean, Oisin, it seems to be a recurring problem, John. This.
Well, he's an arsehole, isn't he?
But the thing is, though, his persona when he talks, and I love the way he chats to interviews and stuff. But that doesn't seem to be his character sort of off the pitch, if you know what I mean.
Well, you listen to Kieran Fallon talk, and he was like your favourite cousin from County Clare, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Soft Irish lilt and all this, You had Wally Swinburne there talking like the proverbial choir boy, and it turns out they're flaming maniacs.
Good job. Social media wasn't around in the 70s. I remember I used to work for the Playboy Club, and we played the jockeys at Newmarket one Sunday, and there will be an unnamed second jockey for Henry Cecil, who's on 2 odd shots the next day, rat-arsed at 1:30 in the morning, rolling around on a pool table. Needless to say, got beat on both of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you say, it is a good point, Nick. I mean, there's absolutely. I mean, obviously the rumours I've been told, it's a lot worse than just an actual failed breath test. But the point is that before social media, it was only a select. News would travel, but it would take a lot longer to get round. And whereas it's done the rounds, this one, and it's interesting to say the least, but O'Sheen, I think Terry Norman needs to grab hold of him. I think Tommy Shelby style, and say no fighting, no fighting, no.
I mean, he used up all his apologies, surely, hasn't he?
Well, it can't. There's no contamination issues here, is there? I mean, it's. Yeah. I mean, it's. Now, you're getting to a stage now where you've basically got to get you. He's obviously a very talented jockey, of course he is. No one denies that. But it's going to be difficult for the sports rulers to keep on side with him if he carries on behaving like this. Yeah, I mean, this is it. He's got to sort his life out, I think.
You don't want to be missing the jump season. He wants 12 months.
Yeah. So
didn't someone tweet this afternoon that the excuse was he went down on a girl from Majestic Wines?
Yeah.
It's a good excuse, that. Yeah. I mean, social media is a bit of a cesspit sometimes, but in this case, I think O'Sheen really needs to just get a grip, because otherwise his career could go down the pan. He's certainly different off the pitch to what he is on the pitch. That's clearly evident from events that took place the last 24 hours. Right, we're going to move on. Apart from Newmarket today, one other thing I want to mention before we carry on with the new format of the show is Chepstow today. Andy Richmond was belly aching on Twitter. Proper belly acher is Andy. And he was moaning at the old zooming in angles in the run. When the camera is on the car and it zooms into the runners as they jump a hurdle. It's awful. I've got to say it takes all perspective for me out of viewing a race, and not just if you're in. Obviously, they're in running players, and a lot of people, I do play in running, but there's lots of people also that play in running. It takes the complete, I would say, perspective. I can't tell how fast they're going because when you zoom in, because it takes all sort of speed out of it, and I just don't like it. I like the big pan out, the big perspective, and I think most players do. So I'm just speaking up for a few moans on Twitter today regarding the stop this ridiculous camera angle. Are you a fan of it, Nick?
Not really. No, you obviously got someone a little bit wants to be very creative in there, and the one instance it doesn't work is in live horse racing pictures. You can replay things afterwards like that, but during the actual race, nah. No.
John, you not a fan?
Well, there's that many frigging awards going around in racing now that whoever's decided that they're going to do pictures like that's probably making an award for themselves as they speak. This jump jockey thing that's come out now, if you don't win a Leicester, you can win a Mackay.
Yeah.
It will finish up, all the shittins will be getting a Paddy Brennan.
Brilliant. Superbly put. Right, we're going to move on now to the part of the show where you can press the pink button or follow us in with our best bets this weekend. We used to do it where we go around each race, get everyone's selection. Now we're going to do it where we're more accountable, where we give our 3 best bets. The third best bet gets a 1 point stake. The second best bet gets a 2 point stake. And the top bet gets a 3 point stake. And it'll go on a naps table on barstewards.co.uk when that site is ready to launch, which is very soon, I believe, in the offing. So it will make it more fun. You'll see our performance, whether we're absolutely useless, which we usually are, and whoever's bottom, we can certainly give some stake to. So Catherine's also been in touch with her selections, and I'm going to start off with Catherine's third best selection of this weekend, and that comes good old Hexham. Good old Catherine. She's found one at Hexham. I mean, just it's typical Catherine, really. And it goes in the 3:55 race there, and that's a 2-mile handicap chase, and the selection is Champion Chase, 76 rated chaser trained by Martin Bosley. And Catherine's reasoning is simply bit of an odd choice, but if he's ever going to win, this is the chance. Trainers are a small yard, but they're in really good form, and the ground will suit, says Catherine. And that's available 8-1, and that is an each-way bet, so it'd be 0.5 points each way. Champion Chase, 8-1, 3:55 Hexham. That's Catherine Fry's third best of the weekend. John, I'm coming to you for your third best of the weekend.
Right, this one will make you laugh because it's from a dead stable down in Newmarket, and it's in the 237 at York Hackney. And the last time we saw Bay Bridge, he was being talked of as an Edward VII candidate.
What's happened there?
Well, exactly. You can't possibly bring a horse like this back 3/4 fit. The horse must be right, to my mind anyway. I felt he could go on and acquit himself quite well at Ascot the way he won the race at Newbury. So I think 105 here, the horse likes to get its toe in. The ground should be fine. The trip will be fine. It won't be stretching him first run back. So I think he's worth a couple of shekels tomorrow.
Okie doke. Bay Bridge for John. That's his third best at 5-2 is the best price available, and that goes down as 1 point win, I presume, unless he wants to be one of those flimpers with the each way. But no, Bay Bridge at 5-2 for John. In basically, like John says, this horse really was one of the promising early season types that you thought this could be a stakes horse. So very odd to see him turn up here at the last York meeting of the year for a handicap. Good thing. Do you agree, John? John, it's his third best bet at 5-2. Nick, coming to your third best bet of Saturday.
Oh dear, I'm about to kick John in the knackers here. I really want to take Bay Bridge on.
Go on then, Nick. Yes, let's take him on. Let's put him at the bottom.
That fashionable race, the London Gold Cup. This year, the second, third, and fourth have come out, and 7 outings since haven't done anything at all. He's gone up £15 for it. The one he beaten his novice hasn't won either. The stable's rancid.
Yes.
So I want to take it on with I want to get out the 2, actually. I want to take it on with some forecasts involving Sinjari, Faisal and Elias.
Yeah.
In forecasts to get it out the 2.
So your play would be a combination forecast.
Well, it'll probably be I'm greedy, so I want Sinjay probably say a combination for things to take. I'll be playing with Sinjay probably on top of the other 2 a bit more.
Right, get you. So it's Sinjari, Faisal, and Elias.
Yeah, I want to get the favourite beaten there. So we've straightly gone into confrontation.
Good stuff. So it's a combo forecast for a 1 point stake. We're going to put on the site Sinjari, Faisal, and Elias. Take it on. John Length, head on is Davis with his third best bet of the weekend. So we've got 3 in. We've got Fry's, we've got Davis and Johns, and now my third best bet. We go to the Twig Hopping, and it's in the 3 o'clock at Chepstow. And a horse I like I did like this horse very much last year. A horse trained by Chris Honor, called Grumpy Charlie. And this horse really took my eye on 3 victories here last year. Won on 3 occasions. I thought with a lot more in hand than what you could see to the naked eye. You could see this horse really was sort of, when he got to the front, that's enough, folks. And then they thought, worthy of him to try him in the Supreme Novices. And he just basically got outspeeded by some really good horses. Obviously, you've got Jungle Juice Willie's winning it with Appreciate It. Ballyadam was second. And this horse stayed on nice on the running, just after the Lord Mayor's show. Obviously, couldn't live with the pace of those horses. What I do like, though, is the step up in trip to 2 mile, 3.5 furlongs for his chase debut, of which, he's just bred to be a chaser. Love Brian Carver in the saddle. And I like the fact that Fidelio Vallis and Captain Tomcat will both probably go at it for the lead. There'll be no easy leads in this with those two, because they're both quite exuberant and they like to get on with it. So there should be a nice little pace set up here. And I'm fancying Grumpy Charlie to maybe pick up the pieces late. It's a very juicy 12-1. Now, I'm not going each way this because there's 6 runners, so I can't be bothered each way. So this will be a 1-point win selection. Grumpy Charlie, 12-1 best price available. And that's my third best bet of the weekend. Chepstow very unlucky not to get some terrestrial TV coverage, I feel, this weekend. I'll touch on that a bit later. Right, we'll go on now to our second best bet. And I'll come back to you, Nick, for your second best bet of the weekend.
Right, well, Cesarewitch, staying handicaps over the last God knows how many years, been dominated by Irish trainers. If you look at the Ascot Stakes, the Ebor and the Cesarewitch, they've won, I think, 8 out of the last 15. The only ones they don't seem to win are the Northumberland Plate, because they haven't got a AW program like ours, and the Chester Cup, because you can get drawn out of it, and even that they won it this year. So I'm going Irish here. I think MC Muldoon, because of the reasons I stated before, might get an unlucky run with everyone on Twitter blasting Ryan 2 minutes after the race. So I'm going with Buick's Mount Burning Victory. I've taken the 10s. I think he's got a profile. He acts in a big field. You can get several runners here that show a lot of form in 7, 8, 9 runner races. When it comes to a big field, they crap themselves. It's got big field form. Ranch Hand would spring to mind as a horse that loves small fields and then gets made favourite for a race over with 20 runners and then just goes out of it. But I will give Burning Victory. I've taken the 10s, and I think hopefully Buick will have him sort of in the first 8 and 9, and they all concertina middle to far, and this goes on about 2 out and wins.
Good stuff. So Burning Victory for Nick Davis in the big handicap, Cesarewitch. And that's Will Buick in the saddle, and 9-1 is available. Nick's burgled the 10s. He's good at that. So that's his second best bet. And is that each way, Nick, or on the nose?
On the nose.
On the nose. He doesn't mess around with each way, does Nick? No, never bothers. 2 points win on Burning Victory at 9-1 available. John, I'm coming to you now for your second best bet of the weekend.
This is in the Coral Sprint Trophy final. Or whatever the hell they call it at York. And the theory here is that Copper Knight, who was just had a plaque unveiled at York, the winning most horse at York or something, will inject some pace on the near side. And I think this will set the race up nicely for Gulliver, who has been threatening all season to win one of these, and I think tomorrow could be the day. Kirby's up for David O'Mara, and he's got good York form with Dig, which I always like to see. and he will do for me.
So Gulliver, David O'Mara, Adam Kirby, John feeling that the pace set up. Today it played sort of suited sort of low to centre. But as we know, pace can make sprints. And like you say, if you get that arrowhead and it's Coppernight blasted off, and Gulliver's sort of on the tail of that, then that can work in Gulliver's favour. So John's second best bet of the weekend is Gulliver, available at 10s. John, are you going each way or win?
Yeah, straight win.
On the nose. 2 points win. No messing around for John. None of this each way nonsense. So that's Gulliver for John. 3:15 York tomorrow. Catherine Fry, her second best bet. This is Scaramanga in the Cesarewitch. That's 3:35 Newmarket. Her reasons are the yard and jockey. Jockey upgrade, big jockey upgrade, she says. And this is turning into a very decent dual-purpose performer. Wouldn't want soft-heavy ground, which obviously it's not going to get soft-heavy, no chance. It's going to be fairly dry tomorrow, so we're anticipating just a slight easy side of good, probably at the worst. And she says this is excellent value. So Catherine is very, very keen on Scaramanga to win the Cesarewitch, and she wants to go each way. So she's going a point each way, Scaramanga, at 28-1. That's Paul Nicholls runner, Jim Crowley in the saddle, Indian Jim at 28 for Catherine. My second best bet of the weekend goes in the 4:25 at York. Not on the TV, but nevertheless one of the principal cards. And I do feel that Fergal O'Brien's Gumball is worthy of support. This horse was formerly trained by Philip Hobbs. Philip Hobbs has had his two worst seasons on record, the last two seasons, and this season's just 10%, which is appalling. And I know he's had, before anyone says, I know he's had the first and second today in a handicap hurdle at Chepstow, but nevertheless, in the past, Philip Hobbs just hasn't had a good time of things. Now, Fergal O'Brien is a very good trainer, gets him extremely fit. I just think this horse will benefit from that change of scenery. And that third to Opera Gift at Salisbury earlier in the season is head and shoulders above anything in this race. So 5-1, I thought was very, very acceptable for Gumball. And I think if Fergal gets that improvement and gets the horse sort of enthusiasm back a bit, I think he's the only horse in the race that could win this by Taterfield. So Gumball at 5-1 for me is a win play, and it'll be a 2-point win call. 4:25 York Gumball. There we are. That's my second best bet of Saturday. So best bets times. So I will start with Catherine Fry. Still in the cellar. She will be back. She's coming back for the jump season. I promise you. I've one or two requests, and people love Catherine. I get it. We're rubbish on the jumps. Yeah. She's coming back. And her first choice goes in the 3:30 tomorrow. That's the Silver Trophy. No surprises here for Catherine Fry, who's a massive fan, obviously, of Emmett Mullins, and she goes for Black Stare Rocker. Available at 15-2, Kevin Brogan in the saddle, and Catherine's reasons, probably it's Bent Emmett or something, or Jungle Juice Emmett, but she just says trip perfect, loves the booking of Kevin Brogan, she's a big fan of Brogan, and she says God bless Emmett Mullins and all who sail with him. She probably has. She probably sailed with Emmett Mullins somewhere before John locked her up. But Black Stare Rocco then for Catherine, and that's a 1.5 point each way selection, so that's the 3 points used at 15-2. That's for Catherine. That's Catherine's best bet on Saturday. John, I'm coming to you now for your best bet on Saturday.
Yeah, this is in a race. I don't normally really get stuck into these, but he's kind of forced me hand here. It was doubly engaged, and he's come here. It's in the opening nursery at York, and the horse in question is Animato of David O'Meara's. Again, I'm playing the O'Meara yard up tomorrow. Was in a race at HQ. I'd have been backing him there if he'd run there. He's got a pleasingly progressive profile, decent efforts on good to soft, banging amongst it on the clock as well. He's out of a pivotal mare, so ground no concern whatsoever. I love this horse's attitude when he won at Wussy last time out, because he had to rise him about a bit to get a run in that. But he put his head down and really ran through the line. You know, I was impressed with the horse.
Yeah.
Favourite that day was rated 83, so he's not flat by his rating at all. So he's my 3-point win, best bet of the day.
Oh, love it. On the nose. No messing. These two are on the nose. They're going to either blitz the table or be tailed off. And yeah, Animata by Ulysses, the new Chevrolet sire.
I thought he'd have been shit, to be honest. But I've been pleasantly surprised at some of his stock and that. I think he's shaping up to be quite a handy sire. I think he might be in the Medicean mould.
Yeah. So Animata, John thinks this chestnut colt is on the up. Jason Watson in the saddle. 9-1 available for his 3-point on the nose nap of Saturday. Animata for John there in the 1:30 at York. Nick, coming to you for your best bet on Saturday.
Right then, I'm returning to an old friend who running the Cambridgeshire with my money on, but sadly the ground went against him in good to firm. He returns to the scene of his last win off the same handicap mark, on the same course. So Lucanda for me. He'll like the going, gets a strong pace. Don't see any problems there at all. Straight on the nose, around the 8-9-1 mark.
Is that in the? Is that in the
last at York? That's the last at York.
Yeah, I thought I'd seen it. It's a race that I'd sort of like not really spent a lot of time on. So that's in the 5 o'clock at York. Didn't you like this last time out? Didn't you?
Yeah, I backed it in the Cambridgeshire, but the ground was
too quick.
Yeah, it went good to firm, which is very unusual for Newmarket in October, but these things happen.
That could be the shout of shouts so far. So Nick, have you backed it yourself? And what price did you get?
I haven't backed it yet. No, I haven't backed it yet. I can get on the big races, the little races, and like this, it's a bit more difficult. But I think around it'll go off around the in between. I'll back it at 7. I hope to be the shortest price will take is 7, but I think you might get 8 or 9.
Yeah. It's interesting because Lucanda's 3 runs. He's had 4 runs at York, and 3 of them were certainly very acceptable. 2 wins and a 4th to Migration earlier in the year. So yeah, Lucanda, a good choice. The ground's more in his favour now. He's well enough in. That's Nick's best bet of the weekend. Makes a very solid case. Peter Crouch in the saddle, 9-1 available for Nick Davis's best of the weekend. Mine goes in the Cesarewitch, and I'm very keen on this horse's chances. I can't sort of believe the price in a way. The horse in question is Gingers, John. Gingers. Gubinator. 28-1 available, but I'll put down 25s. I'll be fair, because I think there's like, if you get to 28, it's just not really available. So I'm going to say 25s. I cannot believe the price of this for several reasons. The win last time out, have people not watched it? Have people just thought, well, I can't be bothered to watch that? It's won with any amount in hand. Literally, it's not broke sweat to beat those last time out. And I know this is obviously a lot tougher, but its profile is there for all to see. I've never been impressed with it as a hurdler. I don't think it enjoys the jumps game, if I'm honest. And if you look at its flat record, it just screams bet. I mean, I don't think it's been out the 4 or the 5. In its 7 flat runs, it's very consistent. It's unbeaten at 2 miles. It's had 2 starts at 2 miles, won them both well. It's tactically versatile. Nick mentioned at the start of the show that they could sort of concertina there, but the good thing with Gubinator is he's quite versatile. I think they'll just pop him out, typical McCain style, and he'll sit fairly handy. So I'm not really bothered about traffic issues. And I do think he's highly progressive. Now, added to that 7 of the last 25 winners of the Cesarewitch have been drawn stalls 1 to 4. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, really, that in big fields, there'll be a lot of hard luck stories, as we say every time, and a Gubinator will not have to burn any early energy in getting his position. And I just think he can just sit there, do what he does, and like I say, he's very unexposed. I think this could be a very good horse. I think he's very well weighted. Carries just 8 stone 3, sugar bag there for Andrew Mullen, and I'm very confident Gubinator runs a big race. I'd have him a lot shorter as a bookmaker. I'm not laying 25 to 1 this horse, and you get 6 and 7 places galore on this. So we'll clearly fiddle results. But we'll fiddle Nick's result, we'll fiddle Catherine's result, and my result if we finish 7th and count it as a winner. If you've gone each way anyway. But yeah, so that's my best of the weekend. So I hope you like this sort of new format, because then that gives the best bets. We've got them out of the way. That's what we think. That's what we're doing. So what I thought we'd do is we'd come on to tomorrow's cards now and look at the bigger races in more depth, just to give punters sort of more of an insight on the TV races. So we'll start with the 145 at Newmarket tomorrow and the Zetland Stakes. Anybody want to start me off here? Any views here on this race?
I think there's an interesting one down the bottom in Forden, who I actually backed last week in the ridiculous sales race over 6, thinking that he'd travel all right, and he didn't. He was nearly last 2 out, and he ran on in the 7th. Now, whether he wants a mile and a quarter is another matter. We definitely wanted a mile on that showing. The time before, I thought he looked a right nice horse. So, as I say, you can't say these are going to win, but I do think it'll be a horse of interest tomorrow, and I won't let it run loose at 40 plus.
Interesting, John. No, and it's not the best of Zetland's, this, I didn't feel.
No, I don't think it is. No.
Because I was interested just a little bit, in Berkshire Rebel. Because that didn't handle Epsom at all. It rolled down the camber. It sort of hung in. You could see it was never happy at any point.
Yeah, it's a bit on the leg, isn't it? Well,
yeah. And Mr. McCann had the easy that day, just blasted off. It's very experienced, useful animal. And this really just, I won't say didn't want to know. Well, he didn't want to know, really. He just kind of just hung in and just hung down. He didn't enjoy the experience. But you'd like to think with 2 starts at Goodwood and Epsom, I think Newmarket will feel pretty easy, I think. And I think the step up to 10, obviously being by Sir Percy, be a massive plus. And in what looks a substandard year, I felt that was worth a look at, sort of around about the 16 to 1 mark. I thought that was possibly one of the value bets of the race, given that I don't think it's a vintage year. Any view on the Zetland, Nick?
Well, I don't really sort of punt in 2-year-old races, so it's only watching briefs for me on 2-year-old races, really. Yeah,
for next year, of course. So we move on, and then the 220. I was horrid. Do you know what, John? If we don't get stuck into this on the pink button, we there's no point us being in the game.
No.
8 to 11 Coribus. I mean, this is your blogger bet. This is your, this is obviously what made Twitter's quite amusing last time with blogger with Coribus. Power and clear. And then seeing his face when he got goosed. Me and John. I mean, we said off air as well. I think on air, I can't remember. There's so many conversations. But me and John said, if this was ours, there's absolutely no chance this would be running again this year, we both felt this was bottomed by that ride last time. It was literally, to me, it was legless. It was, that kind of thing can really send horses backwards. You wouldn't even know if horse will even progress after that. Now
this was coming back in Jersey Stakes for me.
Yeah.
And here we are. I'm astonished.
I mean, well, listen. When I open the cards for the first, it's like Christmas. Sometimes you think, what's in this, and then you see that at the top of the list, and you think, no. Honestly, I was going, no, surely not. And the thing is, if people say, well, he must have come out of the race, well, they wouldn't know that. What would that horse have done in the next in 14 days? The horse would have probably had a canter and a breeze, and I would say very little serious work in that time after that race. So they wouldn't have a clue about this horse's well-being in terms of this race. I am astounded that they have put this horse in this. And yeah, I could look at tit when it bolts up 6.
I'm quite prepared to look at it.
Absolutely. I don't mind because there's no way this horse should be running. In my view, I genuinely don't feel that this horse. That was a bottoming for me. I couldn't believe it that it wasn't moving very well either near the line. You could see it was just his stride was so short.
Empty, wasn't it? There was no blood going round.
No, and I've owned horses myself like that where you've gone blast off for a run and you've gone come on, make all, come on, blast off, and they've run flat next time because of that. And if you can only get it well so often with, especially horses of this quality. And don't get me wrong, Corribus on the last run is obviously a real quality animal. Group 1, no problem about stating that. But I'm just astounded he's there. Nick, obviously, no opinion on this.
Not really. No, as I say, I don't I'll keep a watch at the end of the season mostly, but I'm many older handicappers anyway.
Yeah. So nothing. So me and John are going pink button. Might be taking on the blogger and the stallion for Corribus there. Corribus is very well bet as well. 10 to 11 into 8 to 11. Not for me and John. Then the Dewhurst, John, the big race. Obviously, none of us put a bet up in the Dewhurst, but naturally so. Obviously, you've got surely it's down to Native Trail to lay down his Guinness credentials, John.
I would have thought so. I mean, I think the Grr horse has a fair old few strides to make up to trouble it. Bayside Boy again. There's various lines of form that say he's priced about right. I think there's a couple of interesting ones in Glanthorne, is it, of Aidan O'Brien's?
Yeah.
I haven't seen this for 200 days. It beat that Castle Star on debut, which no mean achievement given how that's performed in group races at 6. He unleashed that other one off a break, didn't he? That won was it the Beresford?
Yeah.
Yeah. So after a fairly quiet midsummer with his 2-year-olds, this could be another one that's a bit useful. So, and he'll know where he stands with Native Trail. So I mean, you wouldn't have thought he was coming over just for a sighter. I mean, if we finish within 7 lengths of this, we've got. I can't see why I would do that. The other one I was interested in, rather disappointed he was running it, was Dubai Legend, that way back at York. Yeah. I just can't for the life of me understand why I'd be running it with dig in the ground. He's trained all the family, and he's refrained from running any of them with dig in the ground. They've all got non-runner explanations in the form write-up saying that he's took them out because of the ground when it's been riding on the soft side. The hell's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, like Dubai Legend for me is the interesting one at a price because it's better than the Acom. So yeah, like you say, but I can't really see it beating the favourite. The favourite literally is. It looks like the second coming.
When they've avoided soft ground like the plague with everything out the dam, you know, I just can't for the life of me understand why he's even running it.
We didn't think it moved very well at York, did we?
No, but I couldn't put that down to firm ground. I just think there was something amiss.
No, because it was fast ground on debut. So.
Yeah, you know, I don't think the ground was the issue. I think the ground will be a big issue tomorrow unless they have the hair dryers out tonight. But you know, if it doesn't act on it and Doyle looks after it, it could be of massive interest in something like the Cravens first time up next year.
Yeah.
With what appears to be a disappointing run in the Dewhurst under its belt and flopping in the air.
Yeah, it might be a price. Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't bet against it coming back from whatever happens tomorrow.
No, I agree, John. It's one for everyone's trackers, that one, for sure. I do think that's going to be a nice horse next year. Before we go on to York and just looking at York, I just thought I'd fill in with Chepstow, just give a bit of insight into Chepstow, because I do feel it was unfortunate not to get on any race to be on TV, terrestrial TV. I think that's quite unfortunate. I think Chepstow deserved more. They put on some good prize money tomorrow as well. So disappointing. But anyway, the 150 race, All Mankind is the favourite, 100 to 30. Very easy to back. Dan Skelton's going back over hurdles. Probably will be a bit of a pipe opener this for me. And I did like the Jane Williams horse, Galice Macalo, the mare. She's got some good form last year. Particularly at Sandown when she was second to Benson, the old black butler Benson. Do you remember Benson?
Oh, fantastic, yeah, wasn't it? He was.
Yeah. So she was second to Benson, and the ground and the ground at Sandown gets very heavy, and she sort of struggled in the closing stages. She finished second though. It was a good run. Travelled well. This is more Barrow. Sort of better ground, Chepstow, where she can go handy and probably sit tracking Skeltons. I think she goes close tomorrow. Only problem is you've got Chester Draws on board. Old Chester Williams. The stewards had him in and fined him £140 for a complete not-off ride at Worcester. It was absolutely disgraceful the other day. I cannot put it into words. It finished second. It would have won. Chester made all sorts of excuses up, and it was embarrassing. And he got away with one there because that should have been banned for 40 days, etc., etc. But we know what the BHA are like; they're awful, and they got that one wrong as well. So yeah, Galice Macalo for the Jane Williams team there. I thought that she would run big in that 150 race. In the 225, another cracking race, really. It's the Native River Handicap Chase. And I did feel that the Sullivan horse, Real Steel, of 154 now, that's 8-1. Used to be Jungle Juice Willies. Obviously didn't do anything last year, but it's come down to 154 now. And that, to me, against handicappers, looks rather attractive because Nichols has a good record first off the wind up, and you just feel that. I mean, this is an horse he ran in the King George. They weren't running for tickets. They ran against Imperial Aura at Ascot, and then they go for the King George. I mean, now it's 154 against handicappers. I just think that's worth a look. I'm not saying go mad, but 8-1 available for Real Steel. I thought that was interesting. And so you National Hunt fans will certainly be excited for Chepstow tomorrow, and rightly so. Some good racing tomorrow. Let us know on Twitter if any fancies. Mark Mackay, I know you're a listener. You're a good National Hunt judge. Message me with any of your bets tomorrow, and I'll put them out on the Bar Stewards Twitter feed. Right, we'll go to York to cover off the final few TV races. And the first one on the goggle box is the 202 race. I know we love these times, don't we, chaps? The 202, odds on it going off at 206 or 209. I mean, they're dreadful. Ever Given his favourite at 9-2. Any views on the Rockingham, John?
Witch Hunter has a lot to find, but I think it's quite a nice horse. The market hasn't missed it. I mean, it was 8-1 earlier in the week. I think it's round about half that now. I think that's the one that's got a bit of a future. I think the rest of them are probably just 2-year-olds.
Yeah. I mean, if the draw does play a part, as today, I'd have just felt Canonised was probably the one. But I agree with what you just said there about physicality of some of these. I'm not so sure a lot of these will be training on, but I did feel if Canonised run to its mark from what looked a favourable draw today, on today's evidence, I thought that was like your each-way steal or each-way thief bet. I'm not going to ask Nick because he hates 2-year-olds.
I think you could have a good plop at that in the place market if it was about 1.65-ish.
Yeah. Right, so we come to... Did anyone tip in the 3:15? We didn't. Did you, John?
I did. I tipped Gulliver.
Well, you would do, wouldn't you? I mean, that's typical. We were just coming to. I say what though, this 3:15 race, obviously it's a very valuable sprint handicap. I did think that there was something in here that I thought would be worthy at a sort of biggish price. I just think this horse is quite always Mr. Lupton. It's sort of like 25-33-1, that kind of price. I mean, this horse sort of, it likes York. It adores cutting the ground. And I just didn't see that being a sort of 25-33-1. I know you said, John, about Coppernight and York. And yeah, I agree. Coppernight just, wins everything at York earlier on. But this horse has won 4 times at York. And I didn't really understand why that was so big, because I don't think sprinters are sprinters, and I just feel that this could come back and cause a surprise there. Nick, have you any view on this race?
Well, I agree with John, but the only trouble is I thought Gulliver would be a lot bigger than he is, and everyone spotted his run at the Curragh when he was 4th from an unfavourable draw. And then he was stuck over on the rail in air, and he comes back here. But I think he's around about the right price. That's all.
Yeah. So Nick agreeing with John. So that's interesting. So the two power judges there both agreeing. I will make it a mission this season to get Nick on a show, and I want him to tip up a 6-4 shot on Lump On. I don't think that's ever going to happen as long as but you never know in this game. Nick hates short prices and makes it pay. He knows what he's doing. He likes the longer odds, and he's comfortable at that sort of price range. Don't blame him. Right, any other business, chaps, for this weekend?
Yes, I've got one for people to keep an eye on. Again, it's another one I'm a little bit mystified that it's running. I'm not over enamoured with Sayunis on soft ground, really.
No.
And yet, Emperor Caradoc has been declared for the 350 at York. Brian Smart thought this was good enough to contest the Convivial at York, but he took it out due to the good to firm ground being unsuitable. Then he goes to Carlisle over 6, and this had a very, very quiet introduction from Graham Leigh, where it just kept on for hand riding, for want of a better word. Now, this looks a nice horse to me. I think its physical makeup and everything points to it being all right. And I don't know whether it's significant that he's bringing it here for this race, but I think 25-1 is still big, given that he's taken it out because of firm ground. I might be just generalising on these Sayunis, and he maybe thinks it wants a bit of dig. He'd probably know more than me about that individual horse. I don't think this is a great race by any stretch, and I quite like the look of this at the advertised price.
That's an interesting shout. It is. No, just looking in depth. Brian Smarts, he's a shrewd cookie, and this is the thing. You've got your stats. The unis don't particularly go on it, and the other side of the pedigree also says it shouldn't go on it. Naif Damsire, but nevertheless, this is stepping up to 7, and 6 furlongs wouldn't have suited on pedigree, and like you said, if it's had a quiet one, you've seen it. That's a very interesting shout. So even if not tomorrow, folks, that's a good one from John. Emperor Caradoc there in the 358 York.
Nick, tracker anyway.
Yeah, Nick, any other business?
No, nothing really. Just remind people in 4 weeks' time there'll be the Breeders' Cup, and if you want to get some really good insight, go on to YouTube and look at the DRF workouts and follow Mike Welsh. He gives you some great insight. They'll start in about a couple of weeks' time. He gives some great insight and great with negatives as well about some horses who he watches gallop. I never miss it every Breeders' Cup.
Great information. So that's Mike Welsh on DRF.
Yeah, but he does it. The workouts are on YouTube. Start in a couple of weeks' time, I should imagine.
Great advice, Nick. So that's it. If Breeders' Cup for Yankee Doodle Dandy followers. That rounds off this sort of flat season kind of thing for us. Interesting. Good call from Nick. I think that's about it. Oh, one more thing. What do we think to the 1,000 guineas quotes for Inspiral? 3-1, John. Are you a backer or a layer or a no player?
I'm a no player.
No player.
Up to press, I think that in general, her apart, I think we've got a fairly poor bunch of 2-year-old fillies, to be honest. I haven't seen much of anything I'm particularly keen on, but she's straight to want to come through the winter, isn't she? So I don't think there's any mileage in lumping on and tying a lot of money up now at 3-1. You can wait till after Christmas, February time even. I think she'll still be straight.
Yeah, Nick, you think it's about fair, don't you?
Yes, I think it's about fair. I mean, the caveat is that the trainer's not known for his guinea successes. It looks a cut above at the moment. So did Rainbow View. I remember a few years ago.
Yeah,
as a 2-year-old. No, I would say it's around about fair price.
Fair comment. Right, that's all I think from us. So hopefully your weekend will go well. Plenty of winners, and hopefully we'll have gone some way into finding them for you. That's all from me, John, and Nick. We'll be back on Sunday with the sermon. That's me, John, and Lorne Marvo. That's all from us. Bye for now.
Bye.